Welcome to Talking Entertainment from Rip City with Brandon Laws and Dan Zeal. Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes and Stitcher, or you can follow us on Twitter at TE from Rip City. Enjoy the episode. Hey, welcome to Talking Entertainment. It is great to be back with you it's really late coronavirus stage, stay-home order crap. Dan Zeal, what's up, buddy?
Hello. Happy Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial Day to you as well. You were having a nice Bloody Mary there. I'm drinking Starbucks at the moment. It's a good day. It's a beautiful day. And we're going to talk, it's even more beautiful because we're going to be talking about all the things that we've been watching and what's been going on during the stay-at-home order. Lots to catch up on. First of all, how's your mental health doing?
It's pretty good. No issues. Just working a lot. Obviously, I'm an essential worker. I essentially work all the time. So outside of that, it's good. My mental health would be a lot better if my essential working wife would not have to work from home on my days off, so I could have some peace and quiet and not have to fucking play video games and peace and quiet. So I got.
Well, you can just put headphones on. You don't need.
That's what everyone says, but like, that's not the point. Like, I don't want to have to run a cord all the way to my goddamn TV. Like, I have like a sound system for a reason. Like, I want to hear, like, play video games.
Well, that's true. So you want the speakers, the surround sound to be like giving you the full experience instead of putting on headphones and experiencing it that way.
Exactly.
What have you been playing?
So they had this pretty good deal recently where they had like the Assassin's Creed games on sale because they just announced a new one, and they had the last two bundled for like $25, and so I got those two. It was a fucking great deal. 2 games for $25.
That's a really good deal.
I've been playing a lot of MLB The Show.
Yeah. Oh, so this is PlayStation then?
I've got one of them on Xbox, and I've been playing. Obviously, the show on PlayStation, and there's this Predator game that came out that's like a online only. It's like a four players versus one.
Yeah,
it's pretty awesome, pretty fun. Love Predator. So it's been good. Amazing. Like the show's fun. Like I made my fantasy baseball team since we did a fantasy baseball draft and baseball.
I know, it's crazy.
So it's good. It's good.
Yeah, that's it's funny with baseball because I don't watch as much as I used to. And so if I were to play like MLB The Show, I probably would know like a handful of players, and then the rest I wouldn't even know what team to really pick.
Well, obviously the Braves first and foremost.
The Braves, yeah, for sure.
No, it's a fun game. Like it's nice to normally I don't buy sports games, but I've enjoyed playing it. Nancy and I had a home run derby thing last weekend where I would pick all the players and we had some fun. She actually ended up beating me the last game.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it was good.
I mean, you're having to play some sports games because we're without sports for so long. I mean, what do you think about all this chatter about possibly sports coming back? I think I read something like baseball might be back July 4th. I heard kind of the same way with basketball. It might come back and they might play in the Worldwide Sports Complex in Disney World, ESPN campus, whatever it may be. Like, that sounds pretty wild. Do you think it's all going to happen?
Hopefully. I mean, like it's crazy right now because normally like it's something to watch and like like I come home and we don't watch anything really. Like it's just like this giant void in my life right now.
It is,
and it sucks.
It's crazy how much we care about sports though, and how much of a part of our life it is.
Yeah,
really, the weather hasn't been good either, so we're stuck inside and we're like ready to watch something and be competitive, like just screaming at a TV. You can't do that at a movie.
I know. Well, I mean, my mom does, but
yeah,
that's not always a good thing. Yeah, I mean, like especially like the fantasy aspect, like fantasy baseball, like it makes it a lot more fun and enjoyable, and you have your rooting interest in your teams, for most of us, but yeah, it sucks. Like, it's fucking boring.
It is. Yeah, and even when if like basketball came back, for example, I don't know what exactly they'll do. I've heard stories of like, okay, they're all going to be staying on campus in Disney World, and it'll be kind of like a summer league setup. No, like very minimal people in the stadium stands. They'll social distance, all that stuff. But it's like, man, even if like everybody's there, I mean, they're staying there on campus. You have like hotel workers, you'll have like maids, and like I just don't see it working. And being away from your family, like stuck in quarantine like that, it seems really bizarre to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing, and like a lot of people are going to debate it constantly. Um, I mean, I think a lot of the players want to play.
Yeah,
Um,
well, I think they want to crown a champion, and the playoffs are what you live for. So it's better than just canceling it altogether. But at the same time, I mean, there's a lot of money to be either made or lost on this. So I kind of get both sides to the argument. It's like there's the health aspect, but then there's the whole revenue loss thing. People losing their jobs, their livelihood, profits.
yeah, I mean, they've already lost billions of dollars in most of these sports industries too, and
And some of the players too. And like some of the players, I mean, I think their pay cut like 25%. I mean, that's how much the season has been impacted.
yeah,
So
it's
I mean,
it's a
some of
lot.
those guys, yeah. I mean, some are just like us, where they live paycheck to paycheck. I don't live that way, but I
Well,
mean,
yeah,
some of these guys they just spend their money, and so they rely on that paycheck. And when you get it stripped away like that, of course they want to get back. Makes sense.
it's pretty funny. Like the thing I was reading before we hopped on is I don't know if you've had a chance to see the Noah Syndergaard story.
No,
I guess basically his landlord was is like trying to sue him because they were saying that he wasn't paying him rent, and he came out today and Noah Syndergaard said like, "Hey, I paid you 2 months of rent up front, and like now you're trying to extort me for like double this
what,
money, and
what?
like you knew that we weren't playing, and like you knew that I was in Florida rehabbing, and it's just crazy. Like
That's
the
nuts.
biggest thing I've taken away from this is just people like are showing their true colors, man, and like people are just scandalous as fuck right now.
That's bizarre. Well, yeah, I think there's just a lot of pressure on people, and they're using a time like this to, yeah, extort people or whatever, take advantage. It's probably the better word. It's insane.
Yeah, and it was funny because we got a nice letter from Donald Trump yesterday.
It's saying, "Hey, here's your stimulus check or
Yeah,
whatever."
praising me. I was thinking, all right, thanks, dude.
Yeah, that's bizarre. I mean, was that a month and a half ago? I got my letter. I got my direct deposit. I mean, you don't have the kids though, so you missed out on an extra $1,000 for not
Hey,
having
man,
two kids.
hey, the free money we got went right into the savings account, so I'm
Good
not
for you.
going anyway.
Yeah, that's the way to do it, man. Well, so I mean, let's jump in. I mean, we have been watching some things. Like we said, there's no sports, but we've had The Last Dance, which is the Chicago Bulls Michael Jordan documentary. Dude, when it was on every Sunday, I was watching it immediately. It was phenomenal. I thought I would love to dive in and see what your thoughts were on it. You finished the whole thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a weekly watching for us too, and especially for Nancy, who what really wasn't a big basketball fan, like until we started dating, and like obviously we both love the Blazers. Um, I grew up, and you grew up in that era too, like watching Jordan and that era of basketball, and it was really interesting to kind of go back and watch. A lot of that footage and see like I remember a lot of that happening live, but we were so young. It's like you don't remember all the extra drama that was happening. I think that was like the biggest thing too. Was like obviously it's cool to watch all the basketball stuff itself, but like seeing all the interesting storylines unfolding was like the I think the biggest draw to it.
Could you imagine sitting on footage like that for that many years? and not doing anything with it until this. Like, that's a long time.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
I'd be like wanting to put something out immediately, but it's nice that they did it the way they did it. And I wonder if there's strategy when they released it, because I swear this last year has been a lot. Well, the last couple of years, all this greatest of all time talk between LeBron James and Michael Jordan, and if LeBron's going to win another championship, then I think people really start talking about, is LeBron the greatest of all time? Do you think might have been like a timing thing with
I
the
did see
documentary based
I
on
did
that?
see that conspiracy theory is that the reason they finally did it is because Jordan had this pressure that LeBron had won another one. I think part of it is like when you watch this is that you see that that that's how Jordan is like he's cutthroat and he wants to
Yeah,
remain dominant. At the same time, I just think maybe the timing was right for him finally to just to get
yeah,
this out there. I don't think that Jordan's ever going to feel pressure from LeBron. I think in watching this too, and like I told you at the, I think I tweeted out at the beginning of this whole thing, like when they were putting out the last dances, like if you ever want to debate LeBron versus Jordan, as I don't think anybody's going to fucking flock out and gather together to watch a LeBron documentary like they are with Jordan. I was like, this Jordan fucking brought people to watching TV like the goddamn Game of Thrones finale.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think people would watch a LeBron documentary because for the one, the footage is all there. It's like, I don't know how much behind the scenes stuff there is, but I mean the gameplay, it's all good quality. So imagine they could probably cut stuff together and make it look pretty good. The other thing is he's had significant decisions throughout his career, so it could be cool to have some backstory on that, like why he decided to go to Miami in the whole decision thing, and then why he decided to leave Miami and go back to Cleveland, and then leave Cleveland to go to like I would kind of like to hear about that stuff.
I
I
think
wouldn't
that
necessarily want to talk about all the championships. Maybe like dive into some of like the key games and that kind of stuff, but I don't know. I don't know if I need a ton of gameplay. I kind of want to see like his mentality.
the biggest difference is that like timing wise, like Jordan was so closed off and personal where you can't
Yeah.
fucking get LeBron to stop posting shit. Like everything LeBron has done, like he's already got a documentary about like his high school and like his upbringing. Because LeBron has already had all this, like, and like everybody's seen what LeBron's done, and like everybody knows all this stuff already. Like, is anybody going to care again 20 years down the road? Probably not. I won't. I don't
I don't
fucking
know.
care right now.
If we like sports, we'll probably watch it.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. So going back to the Last Dance, the weird thing about this, I know that it got a lot of criticism, but the jumping back and forth between the time. So like what they would do is I think they started the show with talking about the 97, 98 season, because that was the year it's going to be the last dance for that team that stayed intact for so many years. And then they had a documentary crew following all of them around and following Michael Jordan around. I think they must have had permission to do it. So they had basically a year of footage behind the scenes, whereas the other years didn't. But they jump back and forth to like each of the championships, and they even went back as far as like Michael Jordan in college years and getting drafted and that kind of stuff. Did you find it confusing going back and forth like that, or did you felt like it was a needed element to this instead of doing some sort of weird just a linear consecutive storyline?
I definitely like agreed. Like, I didn't notice it at like first until like saw a lot of people starting to talk about it. The more episodes you got into it, and it was kind of distracting towards the end. Um, it
Yeah,
just kind of felt like a Westworld like fucking time jump constantly.
nothing
It's
will
like
be as confusing as Westworld.
that's true. I don't think it was really a necessary thing. Like, I think if you would have just told it, from start to finish, like you probably would have had the same thing. But I guess in retrospect, like, and nobody really fucking cared that much because everyone was flocking to watch it, and I think that was the most important thing. So yeah, it was annoying, but it didn't break it for me.
Yeah. What did you think about some of the side stories? Because it really felt like it. I mean, it was an overall Michael Jordan documentary, but they went and talked about a lot of the key players, talked about Dennis Rodman and Scottie Pippen, and even some of the role players like Steve Kerr and Jim. Is it John or Jim Paxson? One of them. But um, let's start with Pippen. I mean, they made him out to look like a bad guy in a lot of these situations where I think it was one of the playoff games he decided not to go back in. He was kind of throwing a fit on the bench. Another where he gets surgery right before the season starts.
The
He's
migraine.
like all the stuff. Like he is back. That was it. Back pain for the Utah series. You know, there's all these little things, and it's like I was surprised that they went so hard at him because he actually participated in the documentary. You know,
Yeah, I think that was part of it. Is like leads into the other criticism is that like this was a Michael Jordan production, and so like it was him telling a story basically.
yeah,
So you got that a lot too, and it was interesting. Like it does paint Pippen in kind of a bad picture, but sorry, I got a pepper.
damn Bloody Mary.
um, it did kind of paint him in a bad picture, but you also got to see a lot of the great things that Pippen did and like why he's like a fantastic player. And I don't think Jordan wins all those championships without Scotty. So
I actually did. I found it fascinating when they went back through and kind of showed like a mini origin story with Pippen and even Rodman too. They kind of showed the college years and their development, and I thought that was so cool. Like how like they just blossomed. I think both of them kind of had a similar story where they just they were okay, and then all of a sudden they hit a spurt. They grew a lot, and then they just became a dominant force in high school and then went to college, and then the rest is history. But I thought that was really fun to see.
yeah, it's cool. Like you didn't expect that, and like a lot of those I didn't actually realize, or probably wouldn't have watched them on their own, but because they were included in this, it was kind of an interesting thing to see.
Yeah.
I liked it.
What did you think about Rodman overall? I mean, we all knew he was a character, but it seemed like he had like a turning point at some point, like he wanted to build a persona, and then he was kind of a wild card in Chicago, but they really needed him. He was defensive force, all that. Like they really probably couldn't have won championships without him.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the Rodman stuff I remember too. Like especially in the later episodes, I remember Rodman going and doing the NWO thing. I guess I didn't remember when I was at the
Oh
time.
yeah, that's right. Where
Uh,
he like during a playoff game or like after he hopped on a jet, got paid 250 grand to go do WWE match or something like that.
yeah, I remember that because I was watching a lot. I watched a lot of wrestling during that time, and I remember that. And the funny thing is, like, they didn't show that after the finals is that Karl Malone ended up joining too, and it was this big old pay-per-view.
Oh, funny.
So it was funny at the time, but like just the Rodman stuff is like it's hilarious. Like
Yeah, like Carmen Electra got a lot of airtime on the documentary as well. Like,
that's
oh,
true. Yeah.
thanks for the analysis there.
Hmm.
Too funny. Horace Grant is one that I can't really figure out because it seemed like he would like disclose a little bit too much information and kind of played the snitch role. What do you think there?
It was funny too because like, and I didn't think about it at the time too, but like since it's aired, like a lot of the players have come out and kind of talked about it, and he was one of them where he was kind of pissed off at the way it was portrayed because like they made him like Jordan made him seem like he was the guy that was snitching on him, but then like everyone forgot how Jordan was the one that snitched on his other teammates on this fucking documentary too. So
Oh
it's just
yeah,
one of those things too. Like it's funny because I remember Horace Grant from back in the day too, and like whenever I see people like wearing glasses, I'm like, oh hey, what's up, Horace Grant?
yeah,
Like
right. Got the
fucking
goggles on.
like nobody fucking gets a reference because they're so young now. It's like Horace Grant was a baller back in the day.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I mean, that was a funny. Yeah, I don't know what to believe on a lot of these, like, because this is a Michael Jordan documentary, and so obviously he's going to spin it the way he want. He had last production rights on this, so he can spin anything how he wants to. He could probably remove footage that he wants, like all that. The the one thing that I was like, this just seems so weird to me is the whole five guys delivering a pizza and then he gets food poisoning, and that was the whole flu game. Like that one, it's not believable to me. Like there seemed to be something else there.
Yeah, I don't necessarily buy into like the people that said that he was hungover. Like
Yeah, I don't. There's probably a the truth is probably somewhere in the middle, right? Like I had read or heard an interview where he was up late, drinking and smoking cigars and playing cards or whatever with whomever his crew was, and then maybe he also got the flu or something that just impacted his ability because he looked physically exhausted. Like I don't know if a hangover would do that to you. He had something else going on, but I don't know. The whole thing is weird.
yeah, it's also believable because it's Utah and like everything you've heard from players too, and like you from that
What
place,
is that
like
supposed to mean? It's Utah.
is that they're assholes, man. Like
Oh,
you've heard so many players say like, especially after like that, the Russell Westbrook thing, like
that was
you
bad.
you hear a lot of stuff about like how people act out there. So it also
Yeah,
wouldn't surprise me at all. They're
yeah,
assholes.
yeah, totally. So, overall, on the Last Dance, I mean, do you put it up there as like one of your top documentaries? What kind of rating do you give it?
Oh, it was obvious. It's must watch TV. Like I don't know if
Yeah,
I'd ever go back and watch it again, but like every Sunday, man, like it was a Bloody Mary and fucking watching The Last Dance. Like it's good. It was good. Like I loved it. Like we grew up in that era, and I loved watching basketball back then. And it was nice to kind of revisit that, see a lot of the players, like in a lot of that footage from back then that you didn't ever get to see, and for like a for people like Nancy that didn't watch Jordan or didn't get to see Jordan or appreciate that, like a lot of people forget how fucking amazing that guy was and like how talented he was.
yeah, and even beyond that, the impact that guy made culturally, worldwide, really. I mean, it really put NBA on the map where it's overseas. Fans are falling in love with them. I mean, the Dream Team with Olympics, all that stuff. Like he really crossed over into really pop culture icon instead of just a basketball player. It really put the NBA on the map, and I think it set the stage for all these other NBA players that we see now, the LeBron Jameses, the Damian Lillards, all these people who are getting big endorsement deals, they might be crossing over into music or acting, anything like that. I mean, Jordan really did that.
Yeah, 100% true. Like, and that was kind of a big thing that they touched on too, is like, because the previous generation before that, like you had like, you know, Bird and Magic, but they never really
Hmm.
broke those barriers. Like they weren't even
No.
on the same level outside of basketball as Jordan was. So
Yeah, so true. Well, yeah, I would say for me, like it was must watch TV. I don't know if I'd watch it again. Maybe in another decade, I'd watch it all over again. But for me, like I seen a documentary like this. I'd love to see documentaries like this on other people. I don't know if they have that the same access and footage, but my God, I would love to see. I know you wrote down like some other ones that they announced, like a McGuire versus Sosa. I mean, totally watch something like that. I
yeah, man, I'm,
because
I'm excited
that
to see that because
during that, I
I've never
loved
watched
watching
that.
baseball back and then, and like and seeing just the home run hitting spree and them going back and forth. Like that was great stuff. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, I remember watching that live, and so like I'm interested to see what they say about that, and like obviously steroids is going to be a big thing that they're going to talk about during that. So
Yeah.
it's awesome. Like some of these stories are pretty cool. Like I'm probably even going to watch the Lance Armstrong one night tonight because
Is that one released?
it's kind of I think it comes out tonight.
Woo. Is it a multi-series one, like kind of like this, or what?
I don't think so. I think it's just regular 30 for 30. So it's
Okay,
probably just
great.
like an hour or whatever.
Yeah, I'll probably watch that as well. Were there any other announced 30 for 30s that
There's
I haven't
also a Bruce
heard
Lee
any
one that they're
announced?
supposed to do too.
Interesting. Yeah, check
So
that out. Huh. And we already touched on you probably wouldn't watch the LeBron James one. I'm all for it though. And then I've heard like a Tom Brady one speculate like I think people would just want that. I would totally love to see it.
I fucking could care less. Like honestly, like,
All right, fair enough.
I'm making a jerk off motion right now for
Yeah,
our viewers and
I
listeners.
see it. It
I
just hit
could
the
fucking
screen.
care less. I could fucking
Okay,
care less.
fair enough. Kenny would love it.
Kenny is also making the jerk off screen right now.
Yeah,
Motion
right.
right now.
So we talked about The Last Dance quite a bit, but we've been watching a lot of other stuff too. And I know, like for you, you've been going back and watching some old stuff. I've been kind of mixing it up, like watching some old movies. I watched Total Recall last night. I was going to text you. It was $7 on Vudu.
I saw
Best
that.
best investment I've ever made in my life. I watched it last night.
So did you get you got the original? Then I'm guessing the good one, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The Arnold Schwarzenegger one.
Yeah, because yeah. Okay, good,
It
good.
was
I'm proud
it
of
was
you.
glorious. Yeah. No, I didn't like the reboot at all. It was not.
I don't think I watched the whole thing.
No, it was not good. So I've been watching some of that kind of stuff. Then I watched a lot of new stuff, mainly shows. Um, I'll just dive into a couple things that I'm watching, just kind of give you. I mean, you could jump in if you watch some of it too, but from a show, you see this like turd cutter right here,
Yeah. Oh,
cat.
so let me tell you this before you start. So let me tell you this story about last night. Okay. So we're doing this on Saturdays. We do this trivia thing via Zoom with our
You do like a house party thing, or
it's on. We do it through Zoom, and somebody hosts it. And last night we're doing this, and all of a sudden the cat comes fucking screeching out, fucking like in a panic. And so the only other time this happened was when she got a shit stuck to herself. And
oh
so I knew this was
no,
happening. So the cat is running all over the place, runs out of the fucking house, or like runs upstairs, freaking out, runs all the way down, like does this giant fucking Days of Thunder lap. Nancy runs after her. There's a shit like on the stairs by the wall.
no
I hear
way,
Nancy trying to get the cat to fucking calm down so she can get this piece of shit that is stuck to her butt because she
dangling.
ate like a fucking hair or a string or something. It was fucking terrible.
That's great. Well, I don't have anything like that necessarily, but I did a webinar where I was moderating, and it's on video, much like this, right? And then my two cats are just like swarming my desk, and there's one right, perched on my desk in video footage, and there's like 120 people on this live webinar, and I'm moderating, and so I see like some chats come in like, "Oh, your cat's behind you," and that kind of stuff, and I'm like, "Oh man, this work from home thing is brutal." Fucking cats, man. Cats don't give a fuck. They'll do whatever they want.
Yeah, no, no, yeah. Earlier she was climbing up around the table and stuff too, and like I'm just trying to fucking get her to go do something else. So
Yeah. So I'll dive into a couple of the shows that I'm watching I think are worth talking about. I watched this show called Dark, and I think I'd mentioned it to you. So it's this I believe it's a Netflix original, and it's a German-based show, but it's they dub English over it. So the words don't like match their mouths perfectly, but after a while you don't really notice it. But it's basically it's kind of thrilling and suspenseful, but it's essentially about time travel and how everybody's connected on this, like it's like a 99-year span, and they like it just all cycles kind of back and forth, and there's somehow this black hole in this city where people can basically just travel. There's just travelers that they just kind of go back and forth between times, and it's really really fascinating. I think you'd like it. It's a little slow at times though. So if the German, the English dubbing is brutal for you, then you might not. But the storyline, it seems like something you'd probably like. I liked it a lot. So
yeah, I think we tried to watch it one time, and I think that like it was a little weird to watch, and so
yeah,
I don't think I got into it, and so like I didn't watch very much of it.
yeah.
So
No, I get that. I almost gave up on it because I was like, I don't know if I could do the dubbed language, but I liked it overall. It was a good late night show. I watched this other show that is like probably my new favorite show, and I want more of it. It's called Upload. It's on Amazon Prime. and it's basically about you could be uploaded into these servers that are this afterlife. It's essentially this like heaven. It's like Black Mirror San Junipero. It's kind of like that episode where there's this digital afterlife where you can upload your memories, your like everything's would be like you're living, but it's all digital. And it's it's funny. It's got a little romantic bend to it as well, but it's just cool. It's like what the future could look like, and they make there's some funny aspects to it. So it's just one season so far. Hopefully they have more. They really set it up to keep going, but I liked it a lot. And that was one that was recommended to me by somebody who usually gives me bad recommendations. So I was really skeptical of it at first, but I just slammed through it. I liked it a lot. And then the last show I want to talk about is Dead to Me. This is season 2. This was Christina Applegate and what's his face? He's in Sonic. I always forget his name.
You talking about Cyclops?
Yeah, what's his real name?
um,
Oh my gosh.
Marsden, something Marsden.
Yeah, yeah. Is it Ryan Marsden? I
Scott
don't really know.
Marsden.
Scott. That sounds right.
Scott
Anyway,
is
so
Scott is his character in Cyclops.
oh, okay.
Cyclops name.
So he's in this, and I don't know if you ever had seen it, but it's funny. It's got some like crime aspect to it. So there's some thrilling aspect. It's a really good show. I think good acting, good storytelling, good writing, all
James
that. So
Marsden. James.
James Marsden, yeah, we were close. So I recommend this, highly recommend this. This is one you could watch, as a couple. Two women will like this one, I think, and the men should as well. So I recommend that one. But those are really the 3 shows I've watched besides The Last Dance, and then I've watched movies other than that.
Yeah, I've seen Dead to Me, advertised on Netflix. It's never kind of really appealed to me, but
Guess you're a loser.
I guess so. Nancy did say that she wanted to watch Upload.
It's really good.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird. Like, we haven't been watching a lot of like television shows. Like,
Mm.
I don't know. If it's just because like on days I work, I go to bed like try to go to bed at like 9:30, and by the time
Oh
we
wow.
get dinner or like home, like I get home and go to dinner, like we get
Yeah.
start eat dinner. It's like barely have enough time to
Yeah.
kind of invest
The,
to
the
it.
the reason I like the shows is because you don't have to be committed to like a 2.5 hour thing. It's like, some of these like Upload, I think is 40 minutes an episode. So, you could watch one and be done, or you can just, slam through a couple of them and it doesn't feel like it's that long. So I like it just because you could fit it in.
Yeah, we at some point like Ozark's another one too, like that I've seen a lot of
Yeah.
people talking about that we watched part of like the first season but never got into it. Like that we have to go back and watch, but maybe once like Nancy is out of going back to work consistently more, like out, in the office, we might kind of get back
Yeah.
into that. But I don't know.
I can't believe you haven't watched Ozark. What is wrong with you?
I don't know. It's weird. Like it was just one of those shows that we
So
started.
good.
And I a lot of times what happens is like she'll get kind of complacent with it, and like I just don't have like the time to want to watch it by myself.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that was one I watched by myself. Angela never got into it, but I would just watch that late at night. It's really dark too, so like you kind of need it to be dark in the room. Like just the scenes are really like dark as far as the setting is, so you really need it to be dark around you. Can't really watch it midday.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really like that. And season 3 was really good too. There's just a lot of development, so
Hmm.
give it another try.
Yeah. Me
Um,
too. Just never
as
do.
far as movies go, like I mentioned, I watched Total Recall last night, which is an older one. But then there was some nostalgia when I busted out a couple of these movies. So Bad Boys for Life, which I surprisingly really liked. It had all the good elements of the original Bad Boys, the funniness, the uh, the thrilling aspect of it. A lot of punchy lines, a lot of shooting, just action. So I actually really liked it. It was really formulaic with the first one though. So I mean, it wasn't anything new, but it's familiar. So I like that part of it. And then Sonic the Hedgehog with James Marsden and what the hell is his name that plays Sonic? He's in Parks and
Ben
Rec.
Ben
Ben Schwartz.
yeah,
Yeah. I thank God that they went through a graphics redesign of the Sonic. I remember when that first trailer came out, and there's so much backlash. And I think they went and spent another 10-20 million bucks on redesigning the whole thing.
yeah.
And thank God they did, because the whole movie is really good. So having an eyesore for Sonic would have been a disaster for the movie. So good on them for firing the original design crew or whatever they did. I really liked it though. When Parker and I watched it together last week, and I wish I would have bought it instead of just renting it.
Yeah, I think that was the last movie that we went to see in theater. We took our nephew to go see it, and he loved it. Like, it's probably not a movie I would watch, like just Nancy and I, and like obviously since it came out in like Redbox, we haven't watched it.
Yeah,
But it was entertaining. Like, it was a fun movie to watch. Like you said with your son, and you know, it's an entertaining movie for sure.
yeah. I thought it was cool. The technology in it too, with Jim Carrey's character, Doctor Botnick, right?
Robotnik.
Robotnik. Yeah, he was pretty good in it. Jim Carrey. He has had some hit and miss appearances, and I thought this is kind of classic Jim Carrey.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. The only other movie I wanted to talk about was The Gentleman. So I think I recommend this
Oh
to
yeah.
you. I don't know if we ever connected on whether or not you liked it, but I thought the first hour was pretty slow, like 40 minutes in. And I was like, where's this kind of all going? But they really kind of set it up, and then the last probably hour was pretty fast paced, and it all kind of came together. I really liked it. I thought it was good acting overall. I'm curious what you thought of it.
I do remember wanting to talk to you about it too. Yeah, I actually liked it. Nancy fucking hated it.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah, but it's more of a type of movie that I enjoy too. The only thing that I hated about it was the fucking Scottish accent that what's his butt was trying to do. And so he's like,
Is it it wasn't Hugh Grant, was it?
no, Hugh Grant was fine. I can't remember his name right
The
now.
Scottish accent. Yeah.
The
Uh,
fucking dude from Sons of Anarchy. I think
oh,
he's actually British, so it was like a British guy trying to do a Scottish accent, and it fucking
ooh, what a
sounded
mess.
terrible.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was a good movie. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty entertaining. I recommend that for sure. But other than that, there hasn't been a whole lot of movies out. I've been wanting to see um The Invisible Man, but it's still on that kind of the home to theater, and I didn't really want to pay $20 to just rent it temporarily. So I'm kind of waiting on that. Otherwise, I really don't know what else to watch from a movie standpoint.
We actually did a long time ago. We paid that $20 to rent it, and it was enjoyable. Like, it's like if you paid $20 to rent it, like you're not gonna be mad that you did. Like, it's the same thing as
Okay,
going
good.
to a theater.
Yeah, I mean, like the Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb scores are really good on it. So I was like, oh, it's probably worth the $20. And the fact that you're not having to go to the theater and pay those prices anyways is probably a win anyways. Because you could drink your own beers and don't have to drive anywhere. So from that standpoint, it's kind of nice. By the way, I wanted to ask you, what do you think about this whole model? Do you think it's going to stick long term, or is it just this temporary, like because we can't go to the theaters, we're going to do this theater at home thing?
I think that with certain smaller movies, you probably might see it a little bit more. Like, obviously, we've
Yeah,
already kind of seen that with going to Netflix, anyways. I know that I think that they're starting to think about doing that with a lot of more like animated movies because it's easier to watch it with your family
yeah.
than it is to take them to a theater. But it's not going to work for some of these bigger budget movies like like the Marvel movies and things like that.
No, I think they rely on the revenue from the theater. And plus, I mean, as a movie goer, you'd want to see it with the 7.1 surround sound experience too. You wouldn't want just to watch that for the first time. Could you imagine watching Avengers Endgame at home for the first time?
No,
I mean, I could do it, but it would not be the same experience.
yeah, agreed.
So, I don't know. Yeah. So then, on that note, there was actually a movie, and I know it's on your list, Extraction, where it's just high powered, action packed, lots of noise. It's one of those that probably should have been in the theater, but they went right to Netflix on it. What do you think about that?
I think that you've seen a lot of these Netflix movies that have come out. Like it could have gone either way. Like I don't know that I probably would have gone to see this in theater.
I probably wouldn't have either, but it would have been a good experience in theater.
Yeah, it probably would. It would have. I think it was one of those borderline movies, and you see this a lot with like the Netflix original movies, where they're probably borderline, and if a studio doesn't really think that it's going to get that kind of traction, and they release it on Netflix, and Netflix pays them a buttload of money to do it. So I'm okay with it. Like, Extraction was, especially during this time when there's not a lot of new stuff coming out because a lot of the movies that are coming out to Vudu or like on demand or
Yeah.
shit that that we've already seen. So
What's on your list? Because that's really all I had to talk about. Although I watched Birds of Prey and I did not like it. That's something we hadn't talked about. And I don't know if I told you I didn't like it. It was just stylistically was not my cup of tea. It felt like, I mean, it's in the Suicide Squad world, the DC Comics stuff. I just didn't love it the way it was directed, and maybe that, I mean, that's the style, so I should have known that going in, but I didn't love it a whole lot.
hmm. Yeah, I mean, I like it. It's an entertaining movie. Like I think of a lot of the DC movies. Like it, it's one that I put on every now and again.
Yeah.
Like when I'm going to bed.
I will say Margot Robbie is really good though. Like, I think she plays Harley Quinn really well. It's just I didn't really like the style of the movie.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No such thing as a bad opinion, my friend.
Yeah.
So let's segue here for a minute. Have you seen this the Snyder cut stuff that they announced?
I've heard about that, and there's a lot of hype around that. And is it because it's really dark and violent and all that, like a
I don't
rated
think
R version?
I don't think anybody knows. I think that's the biggest thing is like because the version they got was
Hmm.
different. So I think that there's just the unknown aspect until it comes out. People are going to
And
be clamoring for
remind me, this is the Justice League Snyder cut, or is this the Suicide Squad
No, this is Justice League.
Justice League? So it makes you wonder what all he has in there, and it's like 3+ hours, right?
I think they've said that it's probably around 4 hours, but they're still
Holy
working
shit!
they're still working on it right now. So I don't know that they even really know.
So remind me, it's been a while since I've seen the Justice League. Who are the main villains in that?
It was some fucking CGI guy.
Okay, huh?
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll sign up
Would
for
you?
HBO Max for a month to fucking watch it.
So it's coming out on HBO Max.
Yeah,
Okay, huh? I'm in.
yeah, I'd sign up for it for a month.
Why HBO Max? I don't really understand. What I have HBO now.
I think that
Is it the
it's like a
same?
Warner Brother thing, or I don't know.
Uh,
Yeah, I think it's a Warner Brother thing because HBO Max has got like the DC movies and DC's under
got it.
Warner Brothers. So
Yeah. Well, motherfucker, it's like one more subscription that you have to have.
yeah, just got to keep fucking like leapfrogging them like every time something new
Seriously.
comes out.
What else have you watched?
Bloodshot was another one that I probably would have not seen in theaters, but
Is that
I
Vin
paid.
Diesel?
Yeah, I paid twenty
Oh,
dollars for it.
yikes! How
It's
was
actually
that?
pretty. It was pretty enjoyable. Like I don't hate that I own it for $20. Um, I can put it on whenever. It's just kind of a guilty pleasure type of movie. Yeah, it's enjoyable. Like you're not gonna hate it if you watch it. It's not anything groundbreaking, but it's good.
Okay. Anything else?
On the Vin Diesel subject, I just spent $20 on the Riddick trilogy,
Oh
which I
no,
which
you did not.
the only the only time I ever owned the Pitch Black movie was on fucking HD DVD, and so I always wanted. I love that movie, and I like the last one. The middle one's kind of shitty, but for $20, man, that's three movies. Is good. Like it's a good series, a good trilogy. You know, Pitch Black's good. The Last Riddick's good. Um,
Huh.
I also tried to get Nancy to watch Tombstone the other day. She made
Ooh,
it like
yeah. I'll be
20
a
minutes.
huckleberry. By
Yes.
the way, speaking of Tombstone, um, Val Kilmer, have you seen him lately? Holy shit. He had like throat cancer or something. He could barely talk. He's got he had the tracheotomy or something like that. And I watched an interview with him. I'm like, what happened to this guy?
Hmm.
He looks like
Um,
he's 100 years old and can't talk.
I knew he had,
Unbelievable.
I knew he had cancer, but I haven't seen any pictures.
Yeah, you got to check out this thing because my God, I didn't know his health was that bad. Poor guy. He lived a good life. He has lived a good life.
Um, yes, that's funny.
Back in his Willow days, that is available on Disney Plus. By the way, it's
It's a great movie.
classic.
It is a classic. Um, I almost forgot how good Tombstone was. It's a fucking amazing movie, and
It
the
is.
cast is ridiculous in that movie too. So
Yeah, it is.
um, the other thing I two other movies that I got too that I invested in is Demolition Man, um,
Ooh,
which
yeah. So
is
you said you got it for like $6 or something like that.
it was $5.
Ooh, yeah.
Tombstone was
That's
five
worth.
dollars. Demolition Man was $5.
Those are steals. I might have to go grab those.
I
I
don't think
meant to
they're
grab.
not on there anymore for that deal, my friend.
Fuck.
So you
No.
I've
Ugh.
bought more fucking movies digital and since this quarantine started than I ever have. It's
Well,
crazy.
yeah, because you can't go out and buy a Blu-ray, so you're kind of resorting to just using your credit card to buy some digital movies and
It
just
is
log
so
in.
easy. It's too easy. It's
Too
ridiculous.
easy, way too easy. And now imagine you have kids where they know how to operate all that stuff. I've had to reverse so many charges.
That's funny.
It's brutal. Yeah. Anything else before we part ways?
So the one movie I want to bring up that I want to talk about too is this one that I watched that I just got the other night. 47 Ronin. So this is a movie that
Hmm.
came out a few years ago.
I feel like I've seen this. Is this with the old people crew?
No, 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 no,
Mm.
no. This is a Keanu Reeves movie.
Oh, I have not
It,
seen this then.
it came out. It's based off of history, but I think that the movie was based off of a comic book. I want to
Okay.
say when the movie came out,
It was a
I
flop as far as box office goes.
it was a flop, and I think the first time I watched it, I didn't like it. So
Oh.
I'd seen like it's super underappreciated. Went back and watched. I bought it because it was like $8 and it was $5 to rent. So I bought it for $8, and I watched it the other night. Um, really enjoyed it. Something that aged really well. I think like going back and watching it now, it's a it's a really good movie. Like Keanu does not talk very much in this movie. Like it's very John Wick esque.
I can tell from the cover. Like, can I just say for the listeners the description of this is great. A 47 Ronin, a band of samurai set out to avenge the death and dishonor of their master at the hands of a ruthless shogun. Wow.
Yeah, and I think the
Sounds like a
biggest
mess.
and I think that the reason that it didn't do so well is because the trailers made it seem like it's this action packed movie, but it's actually
Oh.
not. It's very
Mm.
much like a samurai movie, and it's
Like this Last Samurai, kind of like that.
yeah, similar.
Mm.
Uh,
Okay.
and so it's a slow and steady movie. It has some 1300 or sorry 300 esque
Oh,
scenes
yeah.
like graphic novel wise. Um, it's good though. Like if you get a chance, like check it out. Watch it. I think you'd enjoy it.
Cool.
It's a good movie to revisit.
You have that on digital?
Correct, sir.
Ooh, I might be able to just log into your Voodoo account then.
There you go.
And I can watch Demolition Man and Tombstone as well.
And all three Riddick movies and Bloodshot
Ooh,
too.
I'm liking this, Dan. This is great. I've got a busy couple weeks ahead of me.
There you go.
Well, good to reconnect. I hope you're doing well from this quarantine. One thing I didn't say is that we had an addition to the family. We talked about cats a second ago, but I got a little
Oh, nice.
puppy now, and it's made quarantine a lot better for the family. So
How did the cats doing with the dog?
they're doing great. They were timid at first, but they run around and kind of play together a little bit. I think they're still on edge, and it's actually funny because the cats are so big and they can jump up anywhere. The cats will just they'll perch up and kind of stare at him, and then when Dame tries to jump up, by the way, we named him after Damian Lillard. When he tries to jump up, the cats will be like with their paws, they'll be like swatting at him. Like, luckily their claws aren't out for that, but you can kind of sense they're playing, and it's
That's
fun.
fun.
Yeah,
Are you potty training him?
yeah. I mean, he's had a couple accidents, but he's pretty much potty trained, and he recognizes a bunch of commands. So it was a perfect time to get a pup because kids have been stuck at home. We've been stuck at home, so training wise, it's been good, and it's given us something to do and enjoy as a family.
Nice,
So
nice.
yeah. Well, Dan, glad we could connect, man. Thanks for hopping on. We got to do more regular updates.
Absolutely.
That's on me though.
It's all good. You're a busy man.
All right.
You're the
All
tech
right,
savvy.
guys. Reach out to us on Twitter, T from Rip City. I'm at Brandon Laws, and Dan's at Dizzy Zebo. So connect with us there and let us know what you think and what you want to hear about. Peace out.
Peace.